greatest of all time, the GOAT, LL Cool J.
What's up?
How are you, sir?
What up, baby?
Good to see you.
Chilling.
Let's get into it. It's been reported that you did not have a happy childhood.
Yeah, I had a, it wasn't that I didn't have a happy childhood, but, you know, it was rough. Basically, I grew up between Queens and Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it wasn't easy.
Right.
You know, it wasn't always, especially when me and my mother were on our own. You know, sometimes, you know, she had to get a room and, you know, I had to be there on the floor, on the couch, you know.
Right.
But she did her best.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, everybody's not born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of times people, you know, we go through a lot of tough things, you know, but it's your response to those things that really makes all the difference. It's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. You know, something can happen to you, but then there's that moment where you get a chance to kind of figure out how you're going to deal with it. So what I chose to do, instead of, you know, worrying about the abuse of, you know, or the extra beating that maybe I didn't feel like I deserved, not from my mother, but from, you know, another person.
Right.
Instead of, you know, allowing that to destroy my life, I used it as energy to just chase my dreams and to just fuel my imagination.
Right.
And, you know, fuel my desire to make a life and create my own world.
When your career first jumped off, you became like the first ever rap superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like heartthrob / I mean, did you feel like a superstar?
No, I didn't feel like a superstar. As a matter of fact, you know, if anything, you know, when I first started, you know, if I was walking down the block and, you know, a couple of dudes looked at me, I still thought they had a problem with me or something. I didn't know that, you know, they were looking at me like, yo, that's LL, that's that kid that made the record.
Right.
You know, that's a part of growing up. That's a part of maturity. You know what I'm saying? But, no, I didn't feel like a superstar. You know, I never really got into hip-hop to be a superstar, quote unquote, or to be not even famous.
Right.
You know, yo, I just wanted to be heard, man. You know, I just wanted people to know I was alive.
Right.
You know, I just wanted people to know I existed. That's all. Because, you know, you grow up, you know, running around in Queens or running around in Long Island, North Babylon, Wyandanch. I mean, it's like, you know, the ghetto can have a strange, or the hood can have a strange effect on you. You feel like nobody sees you. You feel like you're invisible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just wanted to be heard. I just wanted to hear my record on the radio and for people to know that I was alive and that I was on the planet. You know, that's all it really was.
Wow.
So that, you know, yeah, everybody, you know, wants to get a little money and we all want, you know, paper and all that. That's cool. But at the end of the day, there's more to it than that for me. It was just wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen.
I think you
know?
accomplished that pretty well.
Yeah, God is good.
People know who you are.
Yeah.
What else was LL like back then? I mean, after you stopped taking the train to go to the hip-hop spot or go to the party and people started taking the train to come see you now.
Yeah. You know, I went through a lot of stages, you know. I went through, you know, I did a lot of crazy things. You know, people hear me nowadays and they hear me talk, you know, very positive, and I always try to encourage people, inspire people to do the right thing. But that doesn't come from a place of superiority or from a place of I've never done wrong or never done anything foul, because I've done a lot of foul things.
Right.
And I've, you know, done a lot of things that probably I wouldn't be proud of, you know, if we talked about right now. But, you know, ultimately, you know, what it was about for me at that time was just, you know, I never really and truly took it that serious, man. You know, back then. It was just about, you know, doing a show, you know, having some money in my pocket, buying my mother a house and a car. All I needed was a car. Where I slept was irrelevant
Right.
At that time. And, you know, that's kind of was the genesis of my existence. I was always, you know, always generous and always loved people, but I was just really just having fun.
Right.
But, you know, over the years, it goes from just having fun and getting money and, you know, wanting to, you know, get, you know, it wasn't about like how many girls can I get, but can I get the girls I really want? You know, I was like, I was a little more focused.
Right.
But at that time, that's where my mind was at. As time goes on, it evolved, and I started realizing that I have an influence on people, and they really hear me and they listen to what I say, and I had to take responsibility for what comes out of my mouth. But my actions back then were no different from anyone else. You know, whether, you know, everything foul from, you know, doing the wrong things, you know, from experimenting with drugs and doing things that, you know, would ruin your life if I had continued to, you know, being 2021 and, you know, having a girlfriend who's a lot younger, maybe 4 or 5 years younger than me at that time. I mean, I did the things that happened in the hood for real. Like, I really went through those stages and through those phases. But, you know, the Bible says a righteous man can fall 7 times, but he'll get up. So it's like, you know, at some point, you know, you got to make a decision in your life. You know, the biggest decision that you can make in your life, you know, other than giving your life to God and giving your life to Christ, the biggest decision you can make is to be all you can be. And not many people make that decision. You know, how many people really sit down and say to themselves, I've decided right now that I'm going to be all I can possibly be, and I'm going to maximize my potential no matter what, no matter how painful it is, no matter how afraid I am, no matter how scared I get, no matter what I go through, I'm going to actually take my life to the next level. And those are the decisions that had to come. But it took a long time to get there. You know, you can't, you know.
Well, what kick-started that process with you?
For me,
was there a certain event or something that just said you just woke up one morning like, ting?
You know what? I went through a lot of things, but basically, I guess, you know, there was a period in my life where even though I was successful and even though I had money and a lot of money, you know, most people would consider it, you know, an incredible amount of money, right? But, you know, I was still filled with envy and still filled with bitterness because I saw other people maximizing their potential, taking their lives to the highest level that they could take their life to. And even though I was in a good position, I didn't feel like I was maximizing my potential. And that's frustrating. You know, when you hear about people being a hater, it's not that they really hate you. What they hate is the fact that they're not maximizing their potential, and you are. And you remind them of the fact that they're not maximizing their potential. So I went through that, and I felt that, you know, and it got to the point where I had to say, you know what? I started reading the Bible, started thinking about things, and I said, you know what? I gotta really do my thing. Like, I can't be afraid to take a chance and make something out of my life. And when I say make something out of my life, I'm not just talking about albums. There's more dreams than all of these records that we see here. There's more than that, because it takes more. You know, we all have more inside of us than we're showing the world. Like, every one of these people out here, you know, everybody out here, they deep inside have things inside of them that some of them are letting out, some of them are holding back, some of them have dreams that they're afraid to go after. And you got to make, even you're at a successful point in your life, but you're bigger than you are now. Like, there's more in you. But reaching for that dream, that was the thing that I had to, like, really make a decision to do. And not being envious and not hating is a really big part of that. Really, instead of hating, rooting for people, you know?
You started reaching for that dream back in '84, and you've been there over 20 years now. What are the benefits and disadvantages of being at the same label for that length of time?
You know, there's a million benefits. I mean, you know, when I started at Def Jam, just to give you guys a little background about LL and like this whole hip hop thing. When I started at Def Jam, Russell had an office and a secretary. That's it. Just so you can, Russell Simmons. So, you know, at that time it was Russell Simmons, you had Heidi Smith, you had Run DMC running around. You know, I was the first artist on Def Jam. Rick Rubin was the producer. Rick was getting jerked from various labels that he was working with. So Russell and Rick decided to form this company called Def Jam Records. They formed Def Jam Records and I was the first artist on Def Jam Records. Rick Rubin had he had Def Jam Productions, and he put out a song called It's Yours by an artist called Tila Rock. And Tila Rock, I went to the record store, bought Tila Rock's record, because back then, you know, obviously it wasn't no internet and all of that to get on. So you had to do whatever you had to do. So what I would do, I would go to the record store, and if I couldn't buy the records, I would look at all the records on the shelf and check out anything that seemed like it was rap music or rap related. I would copy down the addresses and then send my demo to those people. So I just be hanging out in the record store all day saying, yo, what kind of record is this? If you're like, oh, that's, I say, oh, all right. And I sent my demo out. I bugged Rip. He was down at the NYU dormitory college, you know, NYU in the city. They formed a record company. I put out my first song, I Need a Beat, and we went from there.
Rest is history.
Rest is history. Now, as far as getting back to what you were saying, the benefits, hey, man, you know, I basically have creative freedom. I can basically do what I want. I was able to do a really cool deal where, you know, all of these records that you see, I own my catalog. I was able, you know, throughout the years, I was able to acquire my catalog, so it wasn't like, you know, I was able to make some decent business decisions along the way, even though I made a lot of mistakes. And I started out small, it got bigger. Those are the benefits. You know, the downside was there was a point when we had all been together so long that we started taking each other for granted. You know, I see Russell's like, what's happening, baby? Hello? You know, that kind of thing. But, I mean, there really is no downside. This is a huge blessing for me, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. You know what I mean? So I don't have no complaints.
So over that period of time, over the 20 plus some odd years, what has changed about LL personally, and what's changed about you as an artist?
I think personally the thing that's changed is that I'm more, you know, I care more about what comes out of my mouth. You know, I know that affects my record sales. You know what I'm saying? Believe me, I could get dirtier than the back of a restaurant, be like the outside in the back where the garbage cans are at. You know what I mean? But I care about my people too much to pump something in your head to get money and not inspire you and motivate you, because 150 years from now, when none of us are here, somebody's going to be listening to us, and somebody's going to be listening to what we're doing. And we got to kind of take that into consideration. You know, there's artists that are all our heroes that when you get older, you ain't gonna want your kids to listen to them joints. You know, and that's a problem. And I got records like that right in front of us. So what I'm saying is, you have to pay attention to your legacy. And you have to pay attention to, you know, my job is to represent you. You know what I'm saying? My job is not to fool you to get your money. You know, I get paid well because by the grace of God, I can do some art and create something that hopefully you can enjoy, that can make your life easier, give you a chance to forget about your problems for a few minutes, enjoy a video, vibe, do your thing. But I have to represent you. You know what I'm saying? And in representing you, I don't want to play you out by putting an image out there that is cool for a minute, but in the long run, people are looking at us like we're a bunch of clowns.
You've encountered lots of battles. Battle tested. Battle tested. How are the battles of today different from a lot of the battles you went through?
I guess the main thing is that, you know, I think as a people we've grown more sensitive over the years. You know, I mean, you know, today if you battle, you know, like me, Lord have mercy, I say the things I think of, you know, the dude might show up to my house with a guillotine or something. You know, like I don't, you know, it's to keep it very real with you, I think that the battling part is okay, but I think that it gets so people take it too personally, B. You know, let's have some fun. You know, let's if we're gonna crack mother jokes and we know the rules, okay, let's do what we gotta do. But it's really, if you really think about it, is it really necessary for me to shoot up your whip because you spit a hot 16 about me?
No.
Is it really necessary, or am I a little ridiculous if I want to shoot you because you spit a hot 16 at me? Am I just a little ridiculous, like just a little bit? Just a little bit. just a tiny bit ridiculous. Yo, I want to kill you. Why? Because you made a rap record about me, and I'm embarrassed. Come on, B. That's corny. It's not the battling that's corny. It's all of the extracurricular stuff. I'm not saying that, I'm not judging anyone per se, but I'm saying, look, guys, you got all of these people and all these young people, all these kids, all these different people watching. Love each other. You know, you can battle. It's all right. Say what you got to say, but just leave it at that, you know? Treat it like sports.
Sometimes you win.
Sometimes you lose. But treat it like sports. When we get off the court, my man, good looking, baby.
All right.
You all right? You platinum? Good.
What's life like in the Smith household?
Oh, in my house? That's funny. You know, it's funny. I got a movie theater, you know, and we like to go down there and watch the fights.
Right.
You know, and we got, candy machines and all that crazy stuff in there. It looks like the theater, It looks like, you at the flicks.
Right.
And it's nice. I got, fish tanks and big fish tanks like longer than this couch, and fish swimming around, and it's happiness. It's peaceful. But I'm not gonna lie to you, my kids fight like cats and dogs. They're absolutely bananas, but they love each other. But it's peaceful. It's cool.
Your son's a teenager now. I met him at the Rip the Runway.
No doubt.
How has he adjusted to being young LL? Because I know that's what they call little L.
I know what you mean. Well, it has its advantages. He's adjusted well.
Right.
My main thing with him is just you can't let someone else tell you what you're supposed to be. You can't. No one can put their hands on my son and say, "Look, you have to be like your father, or else you're a failure." That's not true. You got to be the best that you can be. In other words, maybe I'm an apple, he's an orange tree. Orange trees don't make apples.
Right.
So be what you are. But whatever it is, do what you're supposed to do. Get done what you're supposed to get done. You know what I mean? So with my son, that's kind of how I deal with it. He needs to, chill out. Don't get, I try to keep him balanced with the honeys, and because my man is, he got it.
I mean, you put him in the video.
He got it cracking. He got it cracking. It's real. It's a lot of traffic, and they MySpacing and all that. I don't know what's going on. It's ridiculous.
So what's it like with your daughters?
Jesus Christ. This guy. Sing. You know what? Teach him to respect this. I have one daughter that's 15.
Right.
Teach her to respect herself. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not the, the dude in the crib when the guy walking up, this daddy, this such a, I'm not,
walking around in a white beater, just yo.
With the wife beat on?
Yeah, like yo.
Pops is tight, tight pops and all that. Nah, B, not at all. You know what? I love them, but I treat them more from a, I don't provoke them to feel like they need to be angry at me. I don't put a lot of pressure on them. What I tell them is this: you can do anything you put your mind to. Right. The only thing that separates us from success is fear, and the only thing that overcomes fear is faith. If a task is once begun, never leave it till it's done. Be thy labor great or small, do it well or not at all. Things like that. I teach them. A swallow doesn't know the lofty ambitions of an eagle. So eagles fly with eagles and crows fly with crows. So know who you're supposed to be with. You know what I mean? That's the way I talk to them. I give them things to chew on, things to think about. Our job is to pass all of the wisdom we have along to everybody that's around us. Like if you're supposed to be walking in the light, then everyone who comes around you should leave darkness and into the light.
Right.
Because if not, you hiding your candle under this pillow.
Right.
Nobody's gonna see it, and it's gonna burn you up.
Right.
So I just share the love with them. That's all. And then my little baby daughter, 5 and a little 10-year-old, they run around and ridiculous, and buy this, buy that, get this, get that, and all that, and all that.
All that.
All of the what you would think is going on.
8 years ago in 1998, you said you were going to retire.
Yeah. You know what? I can tell you why. It was frustration. A lot of times when first I'll tell you why I said it. I was frustrated. That was the part of the period that I was talking about earlier when I said I was bitter and I was envious and I was upset and I didn't feel like I was maxing out. I didn't feel like I was grinding at the level I thought I could be at. So that's what that was. You know what I'm saying? As far as, a lot of times when you hear people say, yo, this is my last album, I'm only doing 2 more albums, I'm only doing 1 more album, that's because they're afraid that they're going to fall off at some point, so they want to cut it short. That's fear talking. That's just fear.
So when's your last album?
I don't know. It may be soon. Who knows? I'm not promising you that I'm going to make 3, 4, or 5 more albums. I don't know how many records I'm going to make. Maybe I got 1 record left on my contract. We'll see.
Now, you've never been an artist to be afraid to show his sentimental side, starting from I Could Give You More.
Yeah, why not?
On to I Need Love, to Love You Better.
Yeah.
What would you say is the LL mindset in regard to that?
You know, I think people get courage confused. You know, the strength of Jesus is that he was willing to be weak enough to let him crucify them, be crucified. That was the strength. The strength was in him being willing to surrender his life and surrender that in order for us to be blessed and get salvation. Why am I saying that? What I'm saying is the strength in I Need Love and the strength in Love You Better and the strength in those songs is the fact that I'm willing to bare my soul to you in order to connect with you, in order for us to go to the next level. That's strength. That's not weakness. See, when you're 16, you think I love you is weak. But what you don't realize is I love you is the strongest thing you could ever say in the world. It's strong. Love is strong.
Okay.
Strong, B. Very strong.
Strong is a word a lot of people would use to describe your performing, your performances.
Yeah.
Like, how much work goes into it? Is it a long, ongoing process? Do you, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run that way.
Nah, you know what? I don't do that part of it. Nah, I don't do. Yo, I'm over here. You know, with the little. What's that little thing that people put their feet on when they stretching around that old joint? You know what I mean?
Right.
Nah, I don't do all that. But we rehearse, and then I just get into it. They motivate me.
Right.
People motivate me. They make me feel like I could do anything.
Okay.
I feel like, it's dangerous for me too, because I've done some ridiculous things. I've jumped from platforms and twisted ankles and tripped and bust. Like I did a show up in Connecticut somewhere. Yo, I actually, like, at the end of the show, banging show, yo, good night, tripped over a speaker, broke my watch. Wow! Thousands of people watching. Crazy. Yo, I've tripped up steps and looked ridiculous. Yo, B, you couldn't even imagine how stupid I made myself look at moments with the tripping on stage and the slipping and dipping and water slipping and, yo. It's a trip. I just get into it like that. You know what I'm saying? I throw chains in the crowd. One day I walked in my dressing room and I was like, yo, I just threw a diamond medallion in the crowd with a chain on it. Like and it was borrowed. now I really gotta pay this dude for the, it was a front. I borrowed the chain. I forgot I was fronting and threw the joint. Oh man, I gotta come out of my pocket and do. He's like, well, I like that. There you go. It's yours now.
Let's play word association.
Let's do it.
Money.
Power.
Success.
Love.
Failure.
Never.
Queens.
Forever.
Marriage.
Beautiful.
Church. Plastic surgery.
Never.
God.
Always.
LL.
Forever, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege and the honor to say this has been Blueprint. LL Cool J in the building.
Yeah.
New album, Todd Smith. Make sure